The room was filled with tears as a loyal dog wrapped his paws around his owner one last time. The vet prepared the final injection, but then froze. Something strange caught his eye. What he discovered in that heartbreaking moment changed everything, leaving the family stunned and speechless. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The clinic room was heavy with silence, broken only by the faint hum of machines. A large German shepherd lay on a soft blanket, his breathing shallow, his once bright eyes dim with exhaustion. His family surrounded him, their faces streaked with tears. They had been told this was the end, that today they had to say goodbye. The dog stirred weakly, lifting his head with what little strength he had left. Then, to everyone's surprise, he leaned forward and wrapped his trembling paws around his owner's shoulders. It was not just a hug. It was a plea, a final embrace filled with love and fear. His owner clutched him tightly, burying his face into the thick fur, sobbing uncontrollably. The vet quietly prepared the injection, the syringe glinting under the light. The moment felt final, until something made the vet pause, frown, and lean closer. Tears blurred his vision as Mark held his dog tighter, the weight of years pressing down on his chest. This wasn't just a pet. This was his best friend, his shadow through life's darkest storms. He remembered the day he first found him, a tiny, clumsy puppy rescued from the side of a lonely road. From that moment they had been inseparable. Together they had weathered breakups, job losses, even nights when Mark felt the world was too heavy. Through it all, those warm brown eyes never left his side. Now those same eyes, dulled with pain, looked up at him, and it broke Mark's heart. The memories poured in. The long hikes in the woods, the endless games of fetch, the quiet nights when the shepherd would curl against his chest, as if protecting him from his own loneliness. Mark's shoulders shook as he whispered, "I don't know how to live without you." His voice cracked, raw with grief. The room grew heavier. Family members wept quietly, the vet standing patiently with the syringe. Everyone expected the end. Yet deep inside Mark's breaking heart, a faint whisper of hope refused to let go. The vet moved quietly, his expression calm but heavy with the weight of the moment. He explained gently what was about to happen, his words softened to ease the family's pain. Mark barely heard him. His face was buried in his dog's fur, breathing. In every last moment, the German shepherd lay still, his body weak, chest rising and falling slowly. The air in the room grew colder, time seeming to slow as the vet laid out the syringe on a sterile tray. Its metallic glint under the light was enough to send fresh waves of grief through the family. "Take your time," the vet said softly. "Say your goodbyes." Mark's hands trembled as he stroked the dog's face, whispering, "It's okay, buddy, you can rest now." His voice broke, tears spilling freely. The shepherd's paw clung to him, refusing to let go, as if sensing the finality. The vet approached, syringe ready. The family held their breath, sobbing quietly, bracing for the inevitable. But just as the needle was lifted, he froze. His eyes narrowed, his gaze fixed on the dog's chest. Something was off. He leaned closer, his hand pausing mid-air. The vet's hand froze in mid-air. His eyes narrowed, fixed on the shepherd's chest. For a moment, no one understood why he had stopped. The family leaned forward, confused, their tears briefly silenced by the sudden pause. "Wait," the vet murmured. He set the syringe down and bent closer, placing his stethoscope against the dog's ribs. Seconds ticked by like hours. Mark held his breath, terrified to hope, yet desperate for anything. The vet straightened slowly, his brow furrowed. "This doesn't look right," he said carefully. "His breathing, it's irregular, but not in the way I expected." Mark's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" The vet didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached for his pen light, gently, lifting the dog's eyelid. A faint reflex flickered. The shepherd stirred weakly, a soft whimper escaping his throat. The room erupted in gasps. The goodbye wasn't over. Something was still fighting inside him. The vet's calm voice carried a tremor now. I want to run more tests. Something isn't adding up. He waved a nurse over, and within moments the dog was carefully lifted onto a gurney. Mark clung to his side, refusing to let go of the paw still weakly resting in his hand. They wheeled him into a side room, machines humming. To life. The vet checked vitals again, heartbeat faint but steady, pupils reactive, lungs struggling but not failing. This doesn't look like end-stage organ failure, he muttered, scanning the monitor. Mark's heart leapt. So, he's not dying? The vet didn't meet his eyes. I can't say that yet, but what I'm seeing suggests something different, possibly a hidden infection or obstruction. If that's true, it may be treatable. The family clutched each other, torn between hope and fear. Moments earlier, they had prepared to say goodbye. Now the possibility of life hung in the air like fragile glass, one touch away from shattering. Mark knelt beside the table, whispering to his dog, "Hold on, buddy. Just hold on." The monitors beeped steadily, as if echoing his plea. The clinic lights dimmed as evening settled, but Mark refused to leave. He sat hunched in a hard chair, one hand resting on his dog's paw, the other wiping tears from his eyes. Machines beeped steadily, each sound a reminder that life still lingered within his loyal companion. Family members whispered in the corner, urging him to rest, but Mark shook his head. I'm not leaving him. Not now. Not ever. Hours crawled by. Nurses came and went, adjusting blankets, checking IVs, recording vitals. The vet worked quietly in the background, ordering more tests. Through it all, Mark stayed close, whispering softly, "You've been my strength all these years, now it's my turn. You fight and I'll fight with you." The shepherd's chest rose faintly, a soft whimper escaping his throat. To Mark, it was enough, a fragile sign of hope worth holding on to. Morning light filtered into the clinic, painting the room in a soft gold. Mark's eyes burned from exhaustion, but he didn't move. His hand never left his dog's paw. Suddenly, the door creaked open and the vet entered, holding a folder of test results. His expression was unreadable. Mark's heart thudded. "Tell me the truth," he whispered. "Is he gone?" The vet shook his head slowly. "No. In fact, it's the opposite." He placed the chart on the table and looked at the family. "Your dog was misdiagnosed. This isn't end-stage organ failure. It's a severe infection. Dangerous, yes, but treatable." Gasps filled the room. Mark sat, frozen, tears spilling down his face. "You mean he's not dying?" The vet nodded, a small smile breaking his seriousness. "With the right antibiotics and care, he can recover. He still has time, maybe years." Mark bent forward, clutching his shepherd as the dog stirred weakly, opening his eyes. The room filled with sobs, not of grief this time, but of relief. The dog wasn't saying goodbye. He was holding on, waiting for someone to believe in him. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the shepherd's strength returned. The infection that had nearly stolen his life began to fade under treatment, each dose of medicine bringing him closer to the dog he once was. Mark walked beside him during his first shaky steps outside the clinic, tears streaming as the shepherd lifted his head toward the sun. No longer a goodbye, this was a beginning, one neither of them had expected. Mark knelt, hugging him tightly. "You're still with me, buddy. We've got more memories to make." And this time, their story wasn't ending, it was starting over. On a quiet evening, Mark sat on the porch with his shepherd's head resting in his lap. The dog's eyes, once dim with pain, now glimmered with life. Every gentle wag of his tail was proof of the miracle they'd been given. Mark whispered, "You weren't saying goodbye. You were asking me to hold on." The dog pressed closer, as loyal as ever. And in that moment, Mark realized the truth. Sometimes what looks like the end is only a new beginning. Love, faith, and one second chance had rewritten their story forever.